Hey everybody, it's Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today I'm going to show you how you can paint this beautiful winter landscape, snow and pines. I believe the building structure is technically pagoda, but internet, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to be showing you everything you need to know to be able to create this painting for yourself step by step. I'm going to explain the mixes, I'm going to explain the techniques, I'm going to really break it down. And the idea is that you paint along with us at home and you get a painting you're really proud of, even if you're very new to art. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hey guys.
He helps me in this incredible mission of teaching people around the world to paint for free by tracking me with a multitude of robotic cameras and zooming in on the action and making sure you're seeing every part of the process, because what you can see, you can probably duplicate. On top of that, some of your questions during the live stream may come up. He reads for those and checks for those, and some of your questions may come up in the live stream, and we might answer them right on the show. If you're here on the replay, you never know, your question might get answered live during the show, but if not, feel free to go ahead and leave it for me in the comments. I try to check my comments on YouTube every day to keep up on student art questions. Today I'm pretty excited because this is a very peaceful Zen painting.
Yeah?
Yeah. There's some interesting techniques we're going to cover. There's some new stuff. We've started to dip into a little bit, but we're going to go deep to get these very soft, atmospheric, foggy effects that can be a little more challenging in acrylic. You guys ready to hop on in?
I think
get
so.
Into that?
Yeah.
Let's do the little meme shake. Okay. All right. Let's get it. So looking at this right here, you can see some things about this particular composition. One is that the colors are very, very light. And I may have to take my glasses off for this one because these glasses are trifocals and I'm still getting used to them. I am new to glasses and their operation sometimes is challenging for me. So you can see here that the colors are very soft, very muted, very romantic. The blends are very soft. And then we have the contrast of this wonderful pine structure and this wonderful building structure. And that's what comes together. We're going to be working on how to do these techniques here and get these soft mixes, and also how to create this really beautiful structure and tips and tricks on getting those lines straight and how you do architectural work. Now, we're going to actually be doing it. I did this originally on 8x10, but we're going to do today's on a 9x12 art surface. This is just an artboard by Artist Loft. You can see it. They come in packs. They're just perfectly wonderful for doing little paintings on. We have some wishes here, wishes, intentions, hopes, and ideas that we like to put into the universe. So we have love, support to family and the wife of Beth Furman, who has left us. And this is really hard because Levi and Beth were a longtime member of our community and brought a lot of joy to all of us. So the world is just a little less wonderful without her in it. If you're online and know the family, definitely reach out. They have a nice little fundraise going in her honor. Healing and feeling better for little brush Axel. He's going through a whole bunch and is not feeling great right now, and he would like to feel better. Mary D wishes for her Sherpa Jezzy. They've lost Jezzy. Jezzy has gone over the Rainbow Bridge, so wishes of love and strength for the family. And then personally, I would like to wish some heart healing to Dee. I'm not going to get into all of it. I'm just going to say Dee knows who she is, and I'm just wishing for something good happening for her heart in there. So that's our wishes. Over here we have our paint colors. This is going to be phthalo green, cad yellow, quinacridone magenta. I've got a little carbon black here, phthalo blue, titanium white, burnt sienna, and then the brush I'm really going to be demoing is this 1-inch Ultimate Varnish mop. So in the world of blending and doing these things, there's a variety of mops. This is a goat mop. I'm not as fond of these for acrylic, though this is a fantastic brush. These are some synthetic mops I found at Michael's. This one tends to be a little bit sheddy, but once you get all the hair out of it, it can work. It's not as easy to use, but it is doable. I also found this mop by Princeton. I think they call it a 1.5-inch oval. These ones I have in my hand are by far my favorite. And it's not that you have to have it to do it. It's just that these make the job a lot easier is what I'll say. They do make my time at the surface easier. And I'm also going to be using my splatter tool. I like so much. to mix some snow. So those are my little specialty tools that I'm going to be getting into. But understand something. If you look at the shape of the brush, I'll talk to you about the type of filament that's in it. Like in this case, it's synthetic, and you get kind of a sense of what it does. You can figure out what in your current art box will work, right? So do the painting today. If you're frustrated with the tools that you have and they're not giving you the effect, then upgrade. But know that even if you have that tool, the technique is still, it takes a minute to learn. Like I can get palette knives and I can get the best palette knives in the world, but I'm still going to have to learn how to load a bead on the edge and to scrape it out and do all those things, even if they are 440 steel, 300 fold palette knives. It's still a big event. Is that not correct, John?
Mm-hmm.
So just know that there's two folds, the tools and then also practicing and getting familiar with the techniques that lead to your success. I just don't want to mislead you in any way that there's a magic pill or something that will fix all things. Now I'm going to put out my titanium white to start. If you look in the description below, you're going to see a link to our website. And if you take that little journey to the website, you're going to see a step-by-step, a traceable, and a reference. All of those are there to help you succeed at the painting. And none of them are cheating to use. That's not how art works.
It's not?
No! Not in any way is that how art works. I'm putting out the quinacridone magenta right now. And I'm going to also put out the phthalo blue. Now to start this out, you're going to want a couple tools. You're going to want a nice big brush that lets you paint a lot of the surface. So I have out here, actually I will go ahead and just grab this one right here. This is a number 26. You could use a number 30. You just want a big brush that lets you start to work the surface. And I'm going to go ahead and blend my wonderful words and wishes into the water so they become part of my art, but also don't bleed through and become part of my art.
And that's why you use like watercolor and chalk.
That's why I use watercolor and chalk so that they vanish nicely into the surface. I do like to do this. This isn't something you have to do. It's just something here we like to do. Now, if you'll look at the step-by-step, you see we're going to start into step 1, which is going to be getting a very light color of yellow and a very light color of pink to blend together. So super doable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, super achievable. Let me put this behind my canvas reference again so we can see them both. I like them as well. Now I'm going to make my job a little bit easier. This is a mister. I'm just going to mist just a smidge. And I mean just a smidge of water, guys. Because if you over wet these surfaces, they will bow and bend. But I do want just a little dampness to it. I'm going to get my white on my brush here. And I'm going to just spread a little of this white up the surface. And the reason I prime this with white first is to help keep these colors super light and to give them something, a pigment already on the surface to begin to blend into. See how we're doing? Now I'm going to take a little of my yellow here and a little of my white. I'm going to make a very light yellow color. It's so light, guys. It's like a baby duck. Go baby duck, da, 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 baby duck, da, da, da. Sorry, guys. It happens. Baby duck song has taken over baby shark song. How many billion views is it?
I don't know.
It made Gangnam Style look like it didn't even show up on the platform. It was like, these numbers can become imaginary numbers. Now you can see I'm just taking that very light yellow. See, I'm taking that very light yellow.
Yep.
And I'm just bringing it up the canvas just a smidge. And now I'm going to get just a tiny, sneaking into my pink. Oh, so much pink. Put a lot of white into that. And I'm going to go ahead and begin to blush. And it's almost like a blush, guys, the middle of this surface. And you can see how that's almost, oh, darn it.
What happened?
The easel wasn't in the little pocket, so it hit the ground. I knocked it off, John.
How ever would that happen?
Now, at this stage, you can see because this is wet and what's here is wet, it's really easy for me to get this pink blushing into the surface. And you'll notice that I'm very slowly increasing any of the depth of that pink. Very slowly. Because I don't want to lose what I've already got. Okay. I've got that going in there. And then before it's all just completely gone, I rinse out. I rinse out, and I'm going to come here and I'm going to get a little bit of my blue and a lot of my white. This is just a start, guys. And we're going to come up here and get some of this white worked into the top. So what are the tricks here to succeed at this? If we were to go over that again in our head, in our plan, how are we getting this effect? We're using a lot of white to lighten the color. We're using small amounts of pigment. We very carefully spread a bunch of white all over the surface, right? That's going to help us keep it sort of moist. I'm going to come here now with my blender. You can see start the blending process. Layers of soft blends is
Now
the
that
effect.
that was a dry brush you just grabbed.
So this is a completely dry 1 inch. Now, it says ultimate burnish, but what you're really looking at is kind of like a synthetic mop, and it's very soft, the way you'd expect a makeup brush to be soft. And when you brush the wet paint, the wet values, with a dry brush, it will soften and blend. Now, when I rinse it out, which I would definitely want to do, right, because I don't want to keep the paint on it, I have to get the moisture out of the brush. So I'm going to take a towel and pull that out. I can still blend with it a bit, even a little bit damp. I do like to keep a couple extras around, but sometimes, you know, one is all one can budget in, you know, for that particular day. You guys kind of seeing how that's a going. So see, nice little soft pastel-y background.
Look at you. You made a sky.
We made a sky. We did totally make a sky. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my yellow and a little more of my white. I don't want this to be a dark color. That would not help me.
Karen asks, will any mop work?
Any mop will do this effect. Some mops are better at it than others. So some mops will shed all over. Some mops will carry too much water. Each mop has its own thing. Like these mops, and I bought up into the big one, they were fine. But didn't I spend forever getting the loose hairs out of this one so it stopped shedding all over my canvas, and it still drops a few.
There was some mop grooming.
There was. I'm going to take this yellow that I mixed. It's just maybe a shade darker than the yellow I've already put down. You know, like you do. And I'm going to come across on the level. Because everything down here is my water. But notice we're not talking a very dark color. It's just barely noticeable as even being any darker than, you know, the surface. And now I'm going to get into my rinsed out, right? And again, you guys you'll work it out. You'll find your perfect mop. I do recommend this one, but there are other good ones. Like the Princeton is fine for me. And I've made the Artist Loft ones work pretty well too.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a little of the pink into this brush and I'll brush it through. And I'm definitely going to get some white, as you do here. And I'm going to begin to work a little kind of crazy distant cloud structure. Now listen, I brush up. Look at that. Brushing it up. And then where I need to soften it, I come back and I soften it. Just a little bit. It's just nice to do. Just a little of the pink. Sometimes I like to just curl it up like there's a bit of dust or wind or something that's gotten up into that and made that happen. That's pretty nice. I'm going to rinse out and dry off. I'm definitely making sure that I'm all good here.
Are you all good?
I am all good. I feel like I'm all good. I'm going to get some of my baby duck color.
Like, how do you check?
I'm going to pull some of my baby duck into this. See, I'm pulling some of the baby duck into that.
Ooh, I do.
Pull some of the baby duck into that. And then maybe right here in the center, I'm going to add some baby duck. Baby duck. I'm sorry for that, guys. If you have kids and you've been subjected to that song all
You
week.
just duckwormed somebody.
I did. But I'm just adding a little bit of that kind of like yellow to that. And you can see I'm still brushing her and I'm still making that implied kind of movement and dust and cloud of something quite lovely. Quite lovely. And I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of my blue on here. And this time I've got some nice dark blue. And I'm going to come right here and I'm going to just dust in the corners, these outer edges. See how we're doing?
I do.
Now, notice I'm not pressing hard, because look what happens if I press hard.
Oh.
It doesn't look the same, does it?
It sort of peels some of the lower layer off.
It just doesn't work. So I'm going to wipe this off and then I'm going to dust. So it does require that you use a light hand. I got a little enthusiastic there.
No heavy dusting.
No heavy dusting, my friends. The answer, my friend, not pressing too hard. So, you're just going to come here. And I haven't switched brushes. And the reason, now, in my own studio, I absolutely indulge myself in switch brushes a lot. But I recognize you might have one good mop in your brush arsenal. So I want to just show you how you can get through if you got to. Notice I'm using my towel copiously. I'm using it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then that lets me come back through and soften any of this part that I need to soften. So you see, even when we're painting acrylic paint, we still have quite a lot that we can do. And look how gentle and soft that background is. I like to definitely rinse out again. I'm going to have to put some more white out.
More white?
Yeah, so I can get my crazy clouds starting to come in. Crazy clouds. Sorry, I'm in a mood today. I'm going to get my white on my brush now. Thank you. It's just my white. But everything is still damp here.
Yeah.
If you feel you got maybe too much paint, you can always come wipe it off on the towel. Right? And you're going to come here and kind of curl those in. Look, I'm just curling them in. My goal with my clouds is not to repeat my shapes too much. So I don't want them to be like a round cotton ball, round cotton ball, round cotton ball, round cotton ball.
Right.
I want to think about how that is. Oh, that was nice. I like that one. That's very lovely. Because you want this to feel very soft and very gentle into the background. I'm able to get this effect because everything hasn't dried. Sometimes you'll view stuff online and it seems like the acrylic paint is wet forever. And what I would say to you is that's not acrylic paint. Sometimes things are mislabeled. You will notice that acrylic artists, as a community, we tend to move pretty quickly. Because our paint be drying on us.
It's true.
It's drying. We gotta go. You can see that I very carefully layer up my clouds. I can always come in and soften anywhere that I want to.
Now,
I can just enjoy that in any space that I
didn't
like.
mean to
I
go
can
down
bring
that
this down
fast.
into the pink. What?
Let me ask you something.
Okay.
So you've made this wonderful blue blendy line.
Yeah.
And this wonderful pinky blendy line.
Yes.
And then a really kind of hard yellow line.
Yes.
Why is that?
Because is water.
Oh. All right. That makes sense.
That is our horizon line. And we will be softening it quite a lot as we go. We'll soften most of that gone, but you need it there to kind of know where you're going. It's very helpful.
Okay. So you want to leave it crisp and not blendy.
Yeah. But this shouldn't be a bright yellow. This should be very soft. Just a shade, literally darker than the yellow you have back there.
But it needs to be not blendy. That makes sense.
Now, I may actually even stick with this brush because I think it'll do this job well for me, and I did it this way the first time. You could use a big soft round if you don't have this bad boy. I'm going to get a little of my blue on here and some white. Right? Kind of making a nice light color. And from here through here, I'm going to, I need that to be lighter. Even lighter. There we go. Sky blue. I'm making some little water reflections that are happening here. A little more white. I want to lighten it up. Just coming here and adding those in. And I feel like I got a little heavy with those. A little bit too intense. So if that ever happens to you, if you're like, man, I got excited and that got a little intense for what I was trying to do, I'm going to go ahead and get some white into my brush and then some yellow, and I'm going to make the duck yellow again. Now, you'll notice that I have this brush kind of, I think John can catch it with the camera, sort of edge there.
Oh, yep. Ha,
See?
just, you're
Edged.
good. Yeah, okay.
So basically what that means is that my filaments are sort of squishing together. I'm going to go ahead and soften my water reflection. Now, I'm going to have so much mist and cloud here that it'll be okay. And this isn't an uncommon thing that'll happen. Sometimes when you're doing a technique, you're like, man, I got heavy-handed. That's what artists are talking about when they're like, man, I think I got heavy-handed. Whenever you get heavy-handed, just go back to your background color and edit a bit. See how that's softening out quite a lot?
Yeah.
So it's never panic. Don't panic. Don't stress. Two things. Either go back to the beginning, allow the paint to dry and paint it out. You can lift up, but you're never stuck with acrylic paint. That's why people love the medium. Is not only is it a chameleon, it can look like so many other mediums just by using some different techniques or different surfaces or brushes. You can do a lot, right? Like how much water you add, thick, thin, blended. It's all possible. There we go. Isn't that nice and soft and wonderful now?
So I like how Joe, he says, this is the Cadillac of mops.
It is a Cadillac of mops. It's really good mop, man. And here's the thing. The reason I'm not like, only this mop, you get it. I know there are other good mops out there.
I only laugh because the gold bling.
Oh.
It's kind of funny.
It is kind of funny. Just putting that out there. Just want a little bit of it. So just make sure you've got a little of the blue reflection on your water, right? Because you're trying to reflect some stuff. Rinse it out thoroughly. Rinse, rinse, rinse. This next bit's sort of interesting.
Now, your yellow, was it dry?
It was starting to dry, so it became harder. One thing I can do is I can take my mop clean and damp. And before everything even gets done, I can blend that in like that, see?
Oh, yeah.
You just have to learn your paint. What you're going to do as an artist is you're going to be learning your paint. Learning how it works for you in your environment, in your humidity, in your weather and climate and studio situations. So I can do a lot to talk to you about. It could be doing this and it could be doing that because I've painted in a lot of different locations. But some of this is going to be listening to me and going, how does what I'm saying apply to your situation? Because we're not a one and done little artists as a community. We are not.
This is true.
Now I'm going to take my white and I'm going to work that in there, right, into my damp brush. I'm going to get a little of my pink again. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to soften over here this corner's edge. See how I'm taking kind of that obvious water away?
I do.
Now it's still there, but we're starting to deal with the mist that's going to be softening this edge. Get a little more pink into that. A little more pink. And I'm going to go ahead and pop just a hint or two of pink around. See how we're doing?
Yeah.
With water reflections. No matter what tool you put them down with, and I've demonstrated about every tool on the planet to put down water reflections with, you're going to want to make sure that they're horizontal and they're not at a strong, distinct angle. What you see me doing is working the pigment into the filament. Just a little bit of pink out there. Can you catch the pink? A little kiss of pink?
I think so.
And then if I want to blend it there where, you know, it kind of went out, look, I can do that. A clean brush, I can blend it. And come in and even pink it up a bit. I'm going to keep the pink in this zone.
That's the pink zone?
The pink zone. Whoops, I keep touching my canvas version.
You keep expanding the zone.
Well, I know there's going to be a hill there, so it's all right.
It's not staying in the zone.
It's not staying. Sometimes they don't stay in the zone.
It's not zoned for this.
So let's take a look at our step-by-step and kind of see where we're at in our journey, right? So we're about here. We're just finished up here. We're moving into this part of our journey where we're going to start putting in our pagoda. All right. So this is a good time. I got to let my surface dry, and I'll manually dry it. If you've got any questions, it's a great time to ask them. I'm going to mist my paint so it doesn't dry because it's a really weird day for me. And I'm sure it wants to dry desperately, but I'm not going to let it. Is that beautiful? It's just a soft, fluffy, what?
It really, now, can you real quick, the brushes that you were using there, it isn't as so much the nylon, I mean, it's the synthetic versus.
Yeah, so here's the issue with the goat mops. They're beautiful. I have beautiful goat mops. But when you think about it, oil painters, right? They're not soaking their brush in water. The hair isn't absorbing the water. Think about your hair when it gets wet. So natural hair does what your hair does in the shower, which on acrylic, if you've seen that, if you've visualized that in your head, you're like, oh, that's why it's crazy for me, right? That's why it's crazy for you. And you think about oil on your hair, how that's different. So that's why, and in watercolor, you want some water in your mops, right? Very different mediums. Fantastic brush, just a little more challenging, much more likely to shed. So I personally have embraced the synthetic mops, just because they don't do any of those things to me and get the extra moisture out easier. They're not shedding so much, and they give me the soft blend I'm looking for on acrylic. And they're resilient against the acrylic, which, as you know, is very tough on your brushes. So that's why I pick the synthetic over the goat. But I know a lot of people who love goat. So don't be like, oh no, I have a goat mop, I'm ruined. You're not. Just give it a good vigorous wash in the sink so it's not shedding all over everything. And have a hair dryer so you can dry it between uses. You can imagine what that would be like for me to demo here, where I'm hair drying it and then using it again, and hair drying and using it again.
I know we got to get back, but real quick.
I need to let it dry and kind of reset my mindset for getting the pagoda in.
Oh, okay, because earlier Patty was saying she was excited.
Hi, Patty.
About the art retreat and what the dates were, and that is March 18th through the 22nd.
If you would like to paint with me in person, 5 days, 4 nights, just in with me all the time. You want to learn about plein air painting, which is a nice, fun, fancy way of saying painting outside. Basically, you're going to show up. We're going to take care of you the whole time. We're going to feed you. We're going to house you. You're going to be in the most amazing location in Hot Springs, Arkansas. But you're going to be in this beautiful hotel. We're going to transport you. We're going to supply the art supplies. I'm going to teach you all the techniques. You can come in and know nothing and leave knowing how to do all the stuff that we're talking about. We're going to show you acrylic. We're going to show you watercolor. We're going to show you pastel. You're going to be like, and then we're going to even allow you to do the historic Quapaw bathhouse to close it all out, the whole 2-hour experience.
Baths and all sorts of stuff.
So you just got to get yourself there, and then we can pick you up from the airport. Or you could drive in if you wanted to drive in. But
it's all-inclusive pricing.
Yes.
At the expectation of what all-inclusive pricing should be.
Pretty much, yeah. It's just you bring you.
Yeah.
You bring you. And I think we have some games and some hats and some stuff that you'll
there's
find
lots
out
of
if you
stuff.
do. So that's what that is, and I'm very excited about that. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to kidnap everybody into that journey. That was weird.
Well, we had a second, and Patty was asking about that.
And I got to think, and I'm thinking about like how I want to place this in, because there's some differences in the size relationships between the two canvases. So I'm sort of looking at that and taking that in as you do. Now I'm going to dry this real fast because I really feel like the next segment, and John's going to flip away from me because I got to go get my missing errant hair dryer.
Where did it not?
The next part of this, if this isn't thoroughly dry, I really strongly feel that it's not going to work well for you at home. And I want to show you how this can work really well for you at home. So I'm going to show you the tricks you need to do.
Okay. So if you guys were curious about that, you can find out more about the Art Sherpa retreat and all of our other stuff by clicking in the link in the description down below. There's lots of stuff about that. You can find out there's traceables, there's this reference image, you can upload pictures of your own, and we'll get to see them there. So lots of cool stuff like that. Definitely Wow, definitely. I just noticed that there was some weird technical stuff happening on the thing over there. I don't know what's up with that. But wow, there's a lot of you guys here. Nice for seeing you. Oh, see, I have
What?
weird little technical things happening here and
What do you
there.
have?
I don't know. It's like,
Are we still on?
yeah, we've got like
Oh,
over,
okay.
like we got the group of people here, and the everything keeps acting weird and wonkety.
What does weird and wonkety mean?
Well,
I don't know what that means. That could mean a lot of things. On YouTube, it could mean it canceled everybody's account.
well, I don't think that's happening.
Okay, well that's good. That's a start.
I'll converse with these misbehaving gremlins and see where things go.
Okay, well don't start it with a supernatural being because we don't have any more way to handle it. I'm just kidding. I don't think that YouTube is a supernatural being. Don't write me in concern. All right, so if you mentally mark where the halfway point is of your surface, right, which is about here, just a little bit up from that is where I'm going to begin my pagoda. And I am going to use my T-square here, right? And I'm going to come over about 1.5 inches from the edge. I think you could go as much as 2 inches. 2 inches would probably be fine. So anywhere between 1.5 inches. And I'm going to take a mix of my phthalo blue and my phthalo green together. This is actually the basis of my pagoda color. And I'm going to get a little white into it if I can. Kind of soften it because everything here is very, very, very mellow. And I'm going to make a line. Let's make a line from the 2-inch mark to the 5-inch mark. Let's start with that. See how that goes. I'm using a number 2 bright. And the reason I'm using a number 2 bright is the shape of the brush kind of gives me a nice square line that I can play with.
It gives you a square line?
It does. It squares up. Like you can see the edge of that squares really beautifully. And the edge of that squares really beautifully. So I did that from the 2-inch to the 5-inch mark. Now I'm going to pull this back. And I'm going to wipe off any extra paint. Because it will not help me if I have extra paint.
It won't?
No. I will just get extra paint all over the surface.
What you doing?
And the next part of my little shape here is going to be the vertical part of my cool building, which needs to come in a little bit from the edge here and a little bit from the edge here. So I got to give myself some room there. I'm not a good architect. Don't build any actual structures off of anything I'm doing here. I'm going to make 2 vertical lines. A little more white paint. Because this part of the building, I think I want to be a little bit lighter. It's still pretty dark. I want to get a little bit lighter. There we go. They were going to do a very light part of that part of the building. I'm going to play these color values against each other. Light versus dark. To help me build my structure. Not terrible. Now, I feel like I've got a little extra there, so I'm going to bring this over just a smidge. I just want to make it as visually symmetrical to the eye as I personally can. I'll get back into my darker color. And I'm going to try to come across just steady with this brush here. And sometimes it's easier for me to do on a line like this. Just pick the direction, maybe not. You just got to pick the one that's steady. And if you need to let it dry and get back to the ruler to stabilize you out, you can. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to come in and go, they cheated. No, see? They cheated. Get rid of their brushes. Call the art police. Okay, so what you've got basically now is a rectangle with 2 kind of longer stripes. You're an architect. Don't you feel great? But it is what you have. And I'm going to also kind of come in and I'm going to get a little bit of my white back into that. Now, coming off of this kind of corner, I'm going to come up. It's like a little horn going out. And it's a little horn going out. And yes, before you panic, yes, there's a traceable. Enjoy it if it will help.
It would definitely help me.
It can be very helpful. I actually freehanded this the first time I did it, so I'm just actually rebuilding this the way I built it the first time with you, if you're freehanding with me. So now I have the swoopy hat. This is the part of the building I call the swoopy hat. Are you familiar with the swoopy hat?
Can't say that I am.
And we're just making a swoopy hat. And these are like kind of like these little spikes that come up. You know, that we do.
Cool looking building.
It is a cool looking building. Swoopy hats. Woo! Goodness gracious, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Now I'm gonna get a little of my phthalo blue and phthalo green again, making this wonderful color. And my new swoopy hat's gonna be up here.
Is it
Its swoops are slightly smaller.
Would you say it's the top hat?
It is the top hat. Make its swoops slightly smaller.
Speaking of hats, I found my favorite hat.
You did find your favorite hat. I'm very proud of you.
So happy.
I know you are.
Segue to my hat.
Now, through the center of this is going to be our little tower. And so our little swoops need to kind of come up into that little tower.
I love that.
Make the sound effect. It really helps.
So this tower looks a little jaded.
It is. That was an intentional choice.
It's been standing in the cold a little too long.
There we go. So look at that. We got the beginning of our swoopity doopity hat.
It's a bit jaded.
Oh, this man. Now, I'm going to dry this and I'm going to use my T-square to help me put the pillars in. And the reason is that for this whole structure to kind of work, even though we're putting a ton of it into the mist and making it reflection, we're going to bring these legs down to about here so we can blend their reflection back into the whole landscape. But to really make those work, I really got to do my best to keep them straight. And my inclination will be to get wobbly. Before I get into the next thing, how's everybody doing?
Pretty good.
You guys good?
Yeah.
You guys good?
You know, this has been a really nice Friday afternoon. I'm really enjoying chatting. I'm out here chatting. I see a lot of my friends. I see Joe and Patty and Shirley and Lindsay and Shaz and man, I get all romper room because I want to say everybody's name, but you know, there's like 600, almost 700 people out here, so there's a lot of folks.
But we know all of your names. Stress not. Every one of you is a precious gift.
It would add an hour to the live stream. We'd just be
and honestly, the best part of it would be John mispronouncing every single person's name in the room, including John.
Yeah.
I'm going to try you say hi to them.
Wari, I'm going to guess it's saying how to your name. I'm just going to go for the complicated ones now. So thank you guys for joining us. We love you guys being here with us. It's super wonderful to have you guys join us. It's probably what makes our lives most fulfilled is being able to come out here and hang out with you guys live. So the fact that you guys showed up to hang out with us makes everything we're doing meaningful, and we appreciate it, because otherwise it would just be Cinnamon and I painting into the abyss, and that is so much less fun.
What's so much less fun?
Painting into the abyss.
Nobody should be painting into the abyss.
No, and that's why when having 700 of our closest friends to come hang out and paint with us really makes it a lot nicer. Yeah,
definitely don't paint into the abyss.
Don't.
Unless you're painting an abyss, and then I'll show you the techniques to get that effect. Happy to help you.
Friends don't let friends paint into the abyss.
Including the soul-sucking fear technique. No.
That's right.
Friends don't let friends paint into the abyss on their own.
Friends don't let friends paint into the abyss.
Now, I'm going to just give myself a few little marks. So basically, there's this opening here, right? Boom, and a boom to boom. Oh, it's not really showing up. I'll use my pink chalk. When all else fails, get your pink chalk. So I'm just trying to show you guys. This is the chalk that you use on chalkboards. So I want at least that far of an opening. And I'd like 3 pillars here and 3 pillars here. And I like a little bit of a lip there if I can get it. So now that I've told myself that, and I'd like my pillars to come down to about just about an inch below my horizon line. Can you guys see the distance there? Now, if you're making a little sketching or you ever want to like test a thought out or an idea, use kids chalk, especially the kind that you use on chalkboards that you get for real cheap, like real cheap. And the reason the cheap chalk is the best, you don't want to use oil pastels because it'll never come off your canvas. It'll ruin your canvas. The cheap chalk will remove easily. It lets you think out an idea without having to totally commit to that idea, right? And then change your mind and remove it with just a little bit of water. Now I'm going to take the T-square and I'm going to come back about here a bit. Get a little of my blue and green together on my number 2 bright, square little bright that it is. And I'm going to just paint myself a pillar. To that little line. What a wonderful, easy little thing to do, right? You can always come along if you need to like crisp up an edge, but it's just letting the brush do that work for you. Let the brush do the work, right?
Crisp it up. Crisp it up.
Crisp it up. Is it a person?
Crisp it up.
Oh, crisp it up. This is how it is online now. Is that somebody's name online?
Is Crispita. That's me slurring my words together. But I'm sure that probably is a name somewhere because that's how language works.
So get my next pillar in, right? There we go. And now we're going to crisp it up. Our new secret community word for straight lines. I'm using the crisp it up technique. Just like in the real world, like see if that'll sail. Like sometimes I like saying crazy things to people just to see if it'll sail. So like when you're out there and you're like, how did you do that? I used copious amounts of the crisp it up technique.
It's a maneuver.
It's a very rare method in maneuver used only in the finest art programs.
If we're going to come up with anything, I would like, I can't be a technique. I have to be about maneuvers. That's just, personal.
Marriage. We've been married for 21 years.
Our marriage can drink.
Our marriage can drink, but not rent a car. Can't escape.
It's true.
All right, there you go. So we are, look at that, pulling in them straight lines. What is it? It's a number 2 bright. It's a straight edge ruler. This is a good way to do it. So I'm going to come back here. And I'm going to just get back just a little bit. Again, I am not an architect. This is not a structurally sound building. And if you have an architect in your life, oh, I'm so sorry. They're probably going to tell you how to make it structurally sound. Like John does every time I paint the moon, he informs me, that's not the correct moon.
Well, it's not our moon. I'm just saying,
Where I'm coming up here, where I've got the poles a little close together, what I can do is I can kind of place my brush where I know I'm going to want it. Oops. I got a little crazy. See, I got a little crazy with that line?
I do. How do you fix that?
Before that line becomes a real part of my painting before it dries, I'm going to take my damp brush and I'm going to very carefully erase it.
Oh!
This works because I dried the paint underneath. Well, a lot of times it's like everyone's like, oh, you can't, erase or change your mind with acrylics. You can do nothing but change your mind with acrylics. That's what I love about it. You can come back to a painting like 10 years later and be like, nah, none of this. Change up the sky, change up everything with an acrylic painting. It's so awesome that way. I love acrylics. I love watercolor too.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do. I love watercolor and acrylics. I've got a really cool multimedia class going on right now where I got all into how to use acrylics like watercolor, I got all into how they mixed up together because I think they all work really fun together. The best of all the worlds.
That's right, Amy.
What'd Amy say?
Amy, it was like my camera went crazy, and I was like, it did. I didn't even know what happened to it. It went.
Sometimes our cameras are art critics, and they just bail on whatever I'm doing.
And
they say I don't like it.
There's one of the cameras is particularly finicky, and I know what it is. I gotta get a new controller for it because I have a generic controller, and it's one of those, it's like owning a BMW. If you don't put BMW parts with BMWs, they don't like the other parts.
Oh, these little camera companies and broadcasting companies have us all.
Literally.
By the somethings. You know what I mean. I'm not going to say what it is, but you know what I'm thinking.
I'm not even kidding. One of the companies calls themselves Black Magic.
And I do feel like I'm playing back Black Magic penalties, like, for having to use them.
It's
Sorry,
like,
it's like a thing. We'll take some cash and a kidney, firstborn, whatever you've got. And also, it's going to have a terrible price.
You perform this ritual, and if you're lucky, the camera will work.
If you're lucky. That's the key right there. If you're lucky. All right.
Did you perform your spell?
I'm going to show you how to do the mist. Now, right. 2 things on this. I'm going to show you a lot of times, and I have tint white listed down here, so you guys know it's there, which is a very transparent white. It makes mist techniques like this easier. Much easier. But due to so many requests saying, hey, I can't get the tinting white, I can't get zinc white right now. I'm going to get it, I just can't get it right now. Can I do it with titanium white? Let me show you how I'm going to get this done with our titanium white. Shall I do that? Okay. Shall we play a game? I'm going to get my brush a little bit damp and get the extra moisture out of it because Lord knows I don't need too much. And I'm going to come get a smidge of the blue kind of green, and I'm going to get into my white paint. And I am going to make it not a perfect, like, bright white. I don't want a perfect bright white because if I do a perfect bright white, it's going to be too forward facing on my surface. And here at the base of my structure, I'm going to come in and very lightly mist up. And you can see I'm just pulling that up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to mist that up. Now, I'm going to dip my brush in water and pull out any extra water that I can. It's still got some pigment on it. And look, I'm going to come here and soften this. It is a little more work than the zinc white, as I think that you can kind of see. And here, I'll come back and forth because what that does make it kind of look like is that there's a reflection from the pagoda into the water into this mist. Is that not cool?
Oh, that is cool.
The only thing that you're going to want to do is just make sure that you don't have easy to define hard edges at the end here. So that'll help it feel a little more like mist water stuff is afoot.
Like it faded up into the...
Now I'm going to pull that blue mist up over the pink, which is really stunning. I won't lie. I don't know why an art teacher would lie. That seems like a strange thing to do as a teacher. Counterintuitive to the goal. I will just lie to my students. Just not helpful. Anyways, I'm just coming over. I'm just dusting a little bit of that white over that to, again, inform that that's somehow a reflection with a little bit of mist at the bottom of the structure. Now, again, easier with tinting white. I won't lie to you. Zinc white, tinting white, much easier material, which is why it's listed there. But as you can see, I do get it done with titanium white. So it's always doable. Always doable. All right, you guys kind of proud of yourselves? I think you should be. Guess where we just got through like so much stuff, okay? We're like between
this is looking really amazing.
6 and 7 is where we're at. Please go to the website, download the free step-by-step, print it out, right? Print out the reference because it'll keep you from feeling anxious and lost in the painting, especially if you're new. It'll say, I'm here, I'm here. Actually, John and I were talking about in picture, just putting up the step we're on so that people can see where they're going because it's really hard sometimes in a painting to know where you're going, especially if there's a lot of layers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to get a round brush, I feel it strongly. I don't know what I have clean. All right, here's a number 4 round. That weird moment when you're like, I don't know what's clean. And I'm going to get some of my green and blue together. And I may get one of my glasses on. I'll try this to see if that I still have to learn how to use my tries here. There's this zone for small bits. And then there's a zone for far away bits. And then there's this weird little middle bit. So it's always like a journey to figure out what part of my glasses allows me to see what I'm looking at.
Where you putting the details in?
Huh?
No, which brush are you using?
I'm using the number 4 round. Art Sherpa round.
I'm going to say thank you to Lori out there, she just sent you a sticker to say, keep it up.
Thank you, Lori. I love stickers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I so appreciate that. I also just appreciate loves, comments, likes, subscribes, all those things. But thank you.
Thank you to all of our patrons, to all of you guys out there. You know, your support, your generosity really makes it possible for us to come out here and do this. And without your love and support, this just wouldn't be as possible. So thank you very much for that. And we love you guys for helping.
Nobody watches the show. There's no show. So true. So I'm making 3 little balls that are going up, right? Each one, this one's bigger and this one's a little bit smaller. Right, that's what you're doing, just little balls. The top that finishes it off. And then I'm going to come here and make a little straight little upward line that's its little point. You can see that? 3 little balls, little point. I'm going to come here and just kind of do a dark line, make sure this is what it's supposed to be. And what's real fun is I'm going to get into my white now. We get into all this sort of like different value ranges, right? And I'm going to make the other little spikes on my pagoda. So if I have this one here, kind of coming over as a friend, there's going to be one that's right here. I might get back into a slightly stronger green so you guys can see it easier before I paint it. There's going to be one that comes right there and one that kind of comes right here. See them on either side?
Yeah.
They swoop in to the center here, to each other. See how they did?
Yeah.
They make that little smile. And these two join with a little bit of a smile. Yes, they do. Somewhat happy about their relationship. And then these two are going to kind of join with a bit of a smile. And then I'm going to definitely put a little more white into this. Kind of paint this underside with this lighter value. Isn't that crazy?
That really is.
It's so cool, right?
It really is.
I know this turkey that I'm that excited about it, but it made me very happy. It rinse out. Almost a similar thing that we're going to be doing, my friends. Almost a similar thing that we're going to be doing. I'm going to come here with a little bit of my, darker color that I have. And I'm going to do a similar bit. I'm going to come here and say, there's a little bit of a here. And then maybe there's a little bit kind of one here, a little closer to the building, right?
Mm.
These join right here. They kind of come down pretty far. There we go. And this, they sort of join like right here. So they kind of swoop down like that. Get my tealy color going. My jaded building. And then this is actually quite deep. And then all this under here is darker. What? It's so cool. Sorry, I'm just very excited by this whole process. But it just works a lot better than you might think. Once you know how to build this little building, guess what? You can change up the colors. You can do it in all kinds of ways. You can stick it on mountains. You can put it on a cliff by waterfall falling down. Always think of these techniques and ideas and constructs that I'm showing you as also possibly future painting. Be like, I'm going to take that, I'm going to take that, I'm going to take these 3 things, I'm going to mash it up. whole new painting. Go for it, man. Go for it. I'm never going to be like mad at you for doing that. It's so sweet. People be like, I changed it up. Don't be mad. I'm not mad. I'm thrilled. You go. You're fantastic. Now, I have some windows. I do. I have some windows. And I'm going to use my little number 2 and some white. And I'll take this off for a second because I feel like I've got the kind of building going fairly well so far. And the first one I'm going to do is I'm going to do it kind of right here, a little window. A little more white. Right? And then maybe another little, let's give it another little window, right? Because you want a nice, beautiful place to look out. Make sure that they're the same height. And then maybe another little window. You have 3 little windows. And you can fuss with those as much as makes your heart happy. Right? Don't go to the point where you're upset or stressed out just as much as makes your heart happy. Look at that.
That's awesome.
Oh my goodness. Now we're going to put out some brown and some black.
For the tree.
For the tree. The tree is the coolest tree. So I'm going to put this little brown out. Yay. And then I'm going to put a little black out. Like you do. All right. So I'm going to take a little of my yellow and a bit of white, and I'm going to come over to my brown and get kind of like this weird basic tree color going. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to do a fun thing. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do some sketching. Sketching with my paint. If you guys are good, I'll show you sneak peek at something.
Okay.
But they have to be good. You can judge, John.
I can judge?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, there's over 1,000. How about this? They're so good that over 1,000 have showed up.
Oh my gosh. For that, I will give them a sneak peek.
Okay. See, I have to tell Cinnamon this stuff because she doesn't get to see the chat, so she has no idea what's going on over here. So, hey, everybody. It's a good Friday afternoon.
Imagine that you're painting on a wall, and it's real quiet, and it's the morning, and there's birds flying by, and there's fog, and you look back, and there's like 2 people.
Yeah.
And then you go back to painting, and then you look back, and there's 1,000 people.
So
it's a little bit of pressure is all I'm saying.
That's Sherpa's day.
So I'm going to bring this little line up.
Don't crack.
I'm not going to because I got to teach everyone. We're going to come up towards the left-hand side about 1 inch up. Okay? And then we're going to take a strong right turn in Albuquerque.
You're not feeling the pressure, are you?
No, actually not. Mostly just the pressure of this wonderful bonsai tree and explaining how to get the crookedy trees. Now I've turned right towards Albuquerque, but I'm going to kind of go down, avoid maybe traffic. I'm just hoping to help you guys get out of your own heads when you're painting it, because sometimes it's easy with trees to get in your own head. And I'm going to go down there about 2 inches. Right? I lost my step by step. It went away. So hopefully I'll stay on your steps. Actually, I don't think I can go that far without you. So that is the road. Up towards the left a little bit. Cook over towards the right. Then down and then out a bit. Now you've got the basics of your bonsai tree.
That was...
I'm going to put a little black in here. Just a smidge. Too much. Smidge is less than that. Jeez.
Scotch?
Scotch. Yeah, let's scotch it. Definite, specific kind of things. Well, and what I'm going to want to do here is I want to have a thick trunk. I'm on the toe of my brush that wanders over there. Notice that it's kind of bumpy. Right?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go over towards the right. And then down. Oh, that's good. I'll just paint all that in at first with that color. Oh, I'm sweating, babe.
Are you?
So badly.
Is it the pressure? Is it getting to you?
No, it's the lack of air conditioning.
Yeah,
you got me in the box with the lights.
I
turned off my AC.
We have.
Yep.
in the sweater. I'll see. We're mostly on the other corner, so I'll see if I can open the curtain a bit so it doesn't.
Just a little bit, or even there's an opening by the bubbles. Like if you could just hit the AC and like maybe I could get like a gasp or an occasional puff of wind. Help me! Help me, Rhonda. So, sorry. Oh, it's okay. I probably don't need that much. Hopefully it's like, I'm just painting that all in. So, I mean, initially you're just wanting to catch this sort of like little shape, and I might kind of knob this up. Now, even more, I might come up this little bend and kind of make sure that it's rough, because I'm really wanting this to feel like a tree.
Yeah.
So in the mix, a smidge of yellow, a little bit of burnt sienna, a smidge of your black, and white. You're still trying to keep these colors fairly light. Guess what's next?
What's next?
Some more branches.
Oh, yeah.
You need some branches, right?
Definitely you should branch out.
So a place that you could do a branch is right here at this bend. I want you to just travel up with me. I had a little more black, but it's going to be okay. We actually like that, the darker branch right there. I'm going to go up about a ½ inch. On the toe of the brush, that's this part, very lightly. And then I'm going to branch out. Go down and over. See those little twigs?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about, yo. We are talking about this. We're not talking about cupcakes, but we should be. Anybody got cupcakes? I'm bringing a little bit of that dark color. Can you see? Kind of coming back underneath. Roughly brushing that in. It's okay to grab a little more of this. I feel like we need a little elbow that goes back. You know, that sort of unexpected deviation back to the left. Rebellion branch. Get your rebellion branch. Now, in all truth, whenever you're painting this type of tree, realize that as much thought and design has gone into this tree as any painting. It's just a canvas that takes years to come to its fruition. So when you're doing these types of trees, be so thoughtful about that space, because there's a lot afoot. You know, the balancing of everything. And I'll go ahead and put a little branch there. See, balance. Balance, my friends. Come up here. You did freak me out.
Did I shake you?
You do shake me. I love that, though. I love that about you.
I was trying to spook you, too. I was trying to...
Yeah, I could tell. Like, you were really like, haha, I'm going to get her.
Well, it's not very often that you can turn around and say, hello, Sherpa, I can shake you. But look at that. She's just like...
Yeah, but I'm still going to paint. I mean, I'm not going to give up on that part of anything. So you see how that's going all very nicely?
I see.
Now, that's pretty great. And I'm going to take a little bit of my dark color. I don't want to go too dark, right? And I'm going to come in, and I'm also going to come in under the little tree here. See, it's not pure black. You still want it to be light enough to be okay. And maybe I'm going to make a little line right here. See that right there? Now, I know I've got, look, it goes up and then down and kind of joins into this, doesn't it? And it brushes back. And notice here that when I push back, I let those bristles sort of flare out. That's a way to soften something. I'm going to come here through the tree again. At this stage, please pay attention to how crazy mine looks. It's supposed to look a little crazy at this stage. That is, for a fact, supposed to be where it's at a little bit. I'm going to come get a little more of my yellow and a little bit of my brown again. Yellow, brown, a lot more of my white. And right here, maybe I'm going to come back. Softening that up just a titch. We're going to have to come back with mist in a minute, but we want to make sure that we've got light values here. A little bit here. That's pretty good. That's not bad.
Not at all.
Not bad at all, right? But guess what?
What?
That's a really bald tree. You need some leaves.
Need some leaves.
We're not even going to change brushes, guys. Guess what? We're going to be right here. We're going to get some green. You can put a little blue into your green if you like, right? Kind of a similar color to our pagoda. And we're going to come right here to this middle. And on the tip of my brush, I'm going to make a little fan of pine needles. See that little fan of pine needles?
You know who I'm a fan of?
Who?
Colleen, who just helped us in Super Chat.
Colleen, thank you.
Thank you, guys. We really appreciate all the support out there. I make jokes, but you're how we're able to stay here doing what we're doing, so thank you for your support.
Especially with the platform getting so strange.
It is.
It's getting strange, but we know we got y'all, so we're good.
Yeah.
So I come here, another weird little clump. Yes, I know it looks like armpit hair. If you're sitting, I'm going, that looks a lot like armpit hair, but I don't want to tell this lady that her painting is crazy at this stage and she doesn't know where she's going. I know it. It's when we put the snow, though. It's going to be gorgeous. Let's do some more right here. See, I'm just on the toe of my brush, just flicking out. Hopefully you can see this brush stroke as it's happening. This is, again, a number 4 round, nice point, does pretty well. I like it. This one needs a little puff, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We'll call these the little clumps of armpit hair. Sometimes if you think of something funny in your painting, it will help you get through the panic, because especially when you're new, you assume you're not doing it right.
And
Even though mostly you're doing it just fine.
And sometimes the Sherpa's just leaving presents for the auto-translate to find.
Oh, is it having a moment?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh, wait, I'm probably going to get demonetized and the video deleted for that.
Snowpiercer, Snowpiercer, Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer. Yeah, don't worry. We save all these. So if I did something crazy and the auto-translate decides I'm a bad person, we can put it back up. I'm going to add some more needles here. And yes, that does happen. It's a weird thing. So you see that little clump right there?
Yeah.
And maybe like right here, there's some more clumps of interesting little pine leaves. And as you can see, is like as it builds out, it's almost kind of wonderful, isn't it? At first, you're like, a lot of armpit hair on that tree. And you're like, oh, kind of like all that on that tree. That's sort of interesting.
You know,
you remember that Bugs Bunny? It's very interesting. Just doing the nails. I loved all that. I don't think they can show those anymore. I don't think they're... I think we're only going to see those at the Smithsonian anymore. What? Look at that. Isn't this just a beautiful balanced tree?
This is turning out really cool.
I love this little tree so much. Yes, I do. Oh, I think we need to have a little bit of... There we go. Armpit hair.
If you love pits, like Boba Fett does, you'll love this tree.
Boba the Fett. Sorry. Okay. Mandalorian. John.
Laysai.
Mandalorian.
They do exist.
John won't watch with me.
It's not that I won't.
I even did fan art of the Baby Yoda, and he's still not watching with me.
I mean, like, this, I think what it is I need the series to come to a conclusion to know that the writers aren't going to derail it someplace.
So I'm the canary in your Star Wars coal mine? It is actually, I'm often John's canary in the show mine. Because I'll start out real happy. I'm going to go in. It's going to be great. And then John wants to see. And the only one he didn't do that with was Game of Thrones. And we all know how that worked out.
Yeah. I should have just let her scout that one out for me.
First. He still doesn't believe me about Stranger Things.
The problem was I had read J.R.R. Martin's work. So I had read the books up until the time the movie could come out. And so I was...
You felt safe.
Yeah, I felt like...
Don't forget this clump right here, guys.
Yeah. I felt confident that I wasn't going to be betrayed.
You're so wrong.
I was so wrong.
So wrong. so super wrong.
I won't say it was a DC fallacy, but I mean...
Oh, don't start on DC again. Be kind.
Oh, Patty's congratulating us on our 1,100 watchers. Thank you, Patty.
Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody who came in and participated in art today. I cannot wait to see all your paints. Because all of you are painting, right?
Yes.
Everybody today who's here, like you right now, you're painting. I hope everyone doesn't just sign out because I said that. They'll be like, I'm not. Wait, is that a requirement? That's crazy. Okay. So the next thing that I'm going to do.
What you going to do?
Is I'm going to take, I think, my number 2.
Yeah.
My number 2 bright. And I'm going to get a little of my blue-green kind of color. And I'm going to come into my white. See what I'm doing here? And get a nice light color. And watch this. I'm going to come along my tree. And I'm going to go dot, 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 dot. I'm tapping up and down. See me tapping up and down?
Oh, yeah.
Tap, 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 tap. This is going to come out, like, make a good bunch here. Imagine, I grew up where there was snow. I grew up in, I was born in Aspen, Colorado. And so I have some feeling for snow. I'm going to add maybe a little bit right there. And it just imagine lots of it just gently falling and landing on this tree, creating a blanket of insulation. Because that's what happened. Don't get too crazy with it, but put some out there. Like you put some right here, like you know there's some right there. And definitely there'll be a bunch right here, huh? Now you want the off-white so that when we come back with the white, it creates a little bit of value change. Isn't that wonderful?
That is cool.
Just the start of it, right? Now it goes through, like, don't panic, right? And just assume my snow is great and your snow is having trouble. Guys, don't do that because the snow has stages.
And you have to practice this.
You need to practice this. Bring this up and down. Now let's put a nice little bit of snow right here. We like snow, right? Maybe a little bit that caught this part of the hill and it comes down. A little bit of snow. Guess what? Our building needs some snow too.
It does.
And we need to put a little highlight on our legs. So come here just real quick. And right here, just bring a little highlight on those legs. Back and forth, and I'm kind of pulling it out. I'm just making a little bit of a shading, right? That's always fun. More snow. Who's got more snow? We've got more snow to put on. The snow is going to collect right here at the top of this little fluffy thing. See how it's collecting? A little more blue into it so we can kind of get it there. And then we'll come back with some little highlighting snows.
So
Snow.
I'm not going to falter.
What did I do?
But Karen said that she likes the snow. It's pretty, but she just doesn't like snow. And
well, like you mean Karen who lives in Canada?
In the dunes of North.
In the desert of Canada. Yeah, fair enough. If you live in a place that like Michigan, you might not be feeling that romantic about snow about this time of year. I don't know. Certain places in Canada, maybe, right?
Heck,
I'm going to come here and I'm going to add a little bit of snow to the top of the, under the little things, and you can put something.
You might find yourself in Nevada.
Huh?
You might find yourself in Nevada with snow this time of year, which is kind of strange.
But in Nevada, you'd be almost amused. You'd be like, snow! Not the surface of the sun. How cool is that?
I guarantee you, it will not be amusing for long.
True. But Mount Charleston often has snow, so they got some ways to deal with it.
Thank you, Lydia. Lydia just said a hey you.
Thank you, Lydia.
Thank you, guys. We do appreciate it.
So where those little bends are, right, we're going to absolutely put a little bit of snow that's collected. Now, back to our fluffy brush.
Okay, which one is that?
Fluffy brush. This, by the way, it is a very good varnish brush. I know I've never demoed varnishing with it, but it is beautifully designed for the act of varnishing. Especially if you have to do brush on varnish, it doesn't do any bubbles and it's self-sealing. The fact that I've used this brush for trees and grass and clouds and fog and every other effect on the planet, notwithstanding, it's still a very good varnish brush. I may be using it in a way that was not initially imagined, but is still good. So I'm going to get some pigment on here. I'm going to take my towel to get any of the excess out, right? Let's get some white. and you want to make sure that there's just enough moisture on the brush where it's going to do okay. And then I'm going to come here and I'm going to also put in a little bit of the...
Oh, that's great.
I may have to, kind of take the canvas here. Just a little mist. Brushing that out a little bit, not too much. We still want to be able to see the hill. This will help a lot when we go to put the snow on. All right, we go to splatter. But before we splatter, we have one more thing we have to do.
What's that?
White snow.
Oh.
You could do yellow snow, but it sends a weird message.
You just got to be careful with that.
So on the top of your little blue snow hills, get some white paint and just tap in a little highlight. Now I got a little highlight, and it kind of gives the snow some dimensionality. I know that feels fussy and weird, but it really works. Making it feel snow-like. Snow, 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 snow. When we splatter it with like the little snowflakes, it's just so nice. Snow here and a little snow there. Snow everywhere that I go, go, go. Snow, 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 snow. I got a little bit of snow. Don't you know in there they feel so cozy?
Oh, yeah.
They're so cozy. They're like so warm and cozy.
Now, before you go over...
I can't go yet. I haven't snowed it.
Yeah, but I want you to go over the brushes that you've used. And kind of before we go today, we're going to recoup
okay,
some of
so
that stuff.
Yeah, we'll go over everything that we've used. We'll this is a #1 Ultimate Varnish 2303 by Silver Brush. Okay. I have a pack. I have one of my sets that comes with the monogram liner and this brush and the cutter, or you can find this brush on its own. It's fantastic, but what you're looking for, whatever brush you can find, is a synthetic mop for blending. I also have this, like these by Artist Loft. They're just a bit sheddy. They just shed a bit for me. And then I have this 1-inch Princeton. It's been okay, right? So I've got that. There are mops out there. You want something synthetic and you want something soft. It shouldn't carry too much water and it needs to not shed on you. I recommend the one I'm using because I've just liked it the best. It's by far the superior brush for me. And so that's why I recommend it. But you got to find what works for you. But you do want something in your art kit that's soft for blending and doing these type of techniques. It's super helpful. Also, I have a nice big bright brush here. This is a 26 short handle ruby satin, right? Nice big one for the big background. I've got a #2 long handle ruby satin here. You want something small and square to give you these nice sharp lines. I've got a #4 round. You want something that gives you a nice point so you can do all these detail bits. I really, really worked the T-square, right? So I have a Westcott, I have an Artist Loft. These are great, just don't pay too much money for them. Colors: quinacridone magenta, cad yellow, titanium white, phthalo green, phthalo blue, Mars black or carbon black, either is fine, and burnt sienna. I'm also going to be using this titanium white here and my splatter tool, but I have a whole video on how you can do splatter, not just this way, but other ways to help you. And my #1 tip for this is, you get to this point, you love your painting, don't test your splatter on the painting. Don't find out your splatter technique is lacking on the painting. Take a scratch piece of paper out, preferably construction colored paper, and splatter it first, and make sure you're getting the dots and dispersion that you want with the techniques that you're using. Big, big thing. Didn't I promise everybody that they got to see a sneak peek?
You did.
Y'all want to see something gorgeous? John's going to zoom in.
What's the sneak peek? Oh, that's right.
You want to see a sneak peek?
That's right. I forgot about that.
I got permission to show everybody.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I asked first.
I'm going to zoom in over here.
Yeah, you got to zoom in to the awesomeness that is this.
So, start out here and you see she's got some really awesome, see, she did that little mermaid lady up there. But then as you show, those whites are so thick and impasto as they've come on in there. And the eyes really turned out.
I'm very happy with the fish coming in and out.
The little fishes.
So this is acrylic, just so you guys understand. I think the only watercolor I used was here in this part, which is Payne's Gray, just because I really like it and the way it travels, but all the rest was done with acrylic. On paper, this is Fabriano 140-pound paper. You can do watercolor techniques with acrylic if you do it on paper because the paper stabilizes the paint so you don't get under binding. If you're super excited about this, the mods will drop the Lifebook link in there. It's a special class. There's 30 teachers. There's 80 classes. It's over the course of a year, and it's all about healing and art and creativity. I will share later today, there's a free event that instructor, the woman who hosts Lifebook, is re-releasing, and so I'll make sure you guys have that too, because there's a big free 30-class event that you can do too. So any of those.
That's where I meant to push. There we go.
Anyways, I just had to show everybody because I feel like this is awesome.
Yeah.
And I love that I got to do a seriously in-depth eyelash class.
Now, well, before you go jump in there, I want to make sure, because before we go, because we're starting
I still have to snow.
I know. But don't forget, if you'd like to get a live notification, right, Cinnamon?
Yes. If you would like a live notification on your cell phone, not on Facebook Messenger, on your cell phone, text message, that means you type in the number 33222 to the Art Sherpa. It only works, and I'm really sorry about this, in the contiguous United States.
Great.
And we have tried to find something that is not a ridiculous amount of money for global texting. Like, it was so bad, and I'm not lying about this. You know how there's those people that try to con you on Facebook? I actually engaged one of these guys in a conversation because he was like, text the number. And I'm like, is that worldwide? And he was like, yes. I'm like, who's your service? How much are you paying? Are they good? So I just want you to know that's how much in my heart I'm trying for you. Is I'm willing to talk to the weird catfishy fake Facebook account to find out what texting service the criminal dark world is using, because clearly they're getting a better deal than me.
Yep.
All right. So anyways, but I am trying.
We're working on it.
Now I'm going to do something a little backwards. I'm going to sign and then splatter.
Sign, then splatter?
I'm going to sign and then splatter. And here's why, because I want to get my signature in all nice and smooth, and sometimes splatters makes little...
But you have changed the order.
I have. Well, you know what? Like, nobody knows the order you do your painting in, so sometimes, rarely, a signature needs to happen before the last technique.
But Cinnamon. Yeah? It is the way.
You don't even know what that means, and I have spoken.
So this is ongoing mockery between husband and wife that you guys get just to peek in on. So
I know where you live. Sherpa. All right, I can't even say my name. Stop making me laugh. Okay. A bit note on paint. Listen, I love this stuff. It comes in a small bottle. You can get it at Michael's. They do a little bottle, and it lasts a really long time because you don't need this much paint to splatter. I put it out like this so you can see it on camera. Otherwise, it's like, I can't see it, and John's got to zoom in a crazy amount. That's me. You put in just what you need. And it's pretty economical, and you can get it with a half-off coupon. If you can't do this, and I totally get it, you can absolutely use like Americana Deco bottle paint. It's not as great of a particulate. It's not as easy. You're still going to have to practice with it. This is a sort of amazing miracle one and done. I'm going to take my splatter brush. No, it's not a toothbrush. I didn't just call a toothbrush a splatter brush. If you have one, you could tell everybody here, no, you would never put this on your teeth. It would hurt.
It would hurt.
I'm going to step back.
Oh, wait, hold on. Shh.
Ready?
Oh, no. Hold on. I got the wrong camera. So let me get over the right camera. Okay. See, I had the remote camera. Okay. Let the splatter fly.
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
And oh gosh,
want to build a snowman?
Patty is celebrating the snow so
thank you, Patty.
Extraordinarily.
Thank you for celebrating
super
the
chat
snow.
Supporting our snowing. Look at that snow going everywhere. It's a snowstorm.
Well, it should be very snowy. It's snow falling on pines, right?
I joke.
I've used American movies to figure out the title of this painting.
We have the most original naming of paintings around here.
Dog with tree and cat.
There's like 4 paintings.
Everybody who mods for me will at some point start to tease me about how I name my paintings.
Because we have 4 paintings that are named Girl with Tree.
We do. Girl with Tree 1, Girl with Tree 2. There we go. It's snowing. So
it is snowing.
I cannot wait to see your version. I cannot wait. I have lots of paintings with this exact color scheme. So if you enjoy this color scheme, I have more.
I don't feel like we can go. Huh? I don't feel like we can go. We have like all these people we don't get to see very often. They're here.
Should we do an after show?
We could. You would just sneak over to your other chair and just sit and talk with people.
Yeah. Would you guys, if you guys say yes, we can do an after show and you guys can ask me technique questions. It won't stay up, but I will make some time and go over. And if you have any techniques you need me to demo or any art stuff you need to ask me, we can come over and do that. If you guys want. Only if you want. I don't want to hold you up for the whole day.
Okay, I tell you what. That's what I'll do. I'll set you up over on your chair.
Okay.
And then you can just go live and chat with everybody for a few minutes.
Just hang here, and somebody will drop a link over on the comments or wherever.
What? You give them you tell them what you got about what's going on, and I'll get 2 seconds to get that fired up while you're waiting.
Johnson's gonna get that going. What's going? Oh, so you mean like what's going on? Like what we're gonna go do? Okay, so I have a really cool hands camera setup that I do with my patrons, where you can see me and I'm sitting at a table and I can demonstrate techniques. And we were saying the other day that we probably ought to do a few more after show Q&As so you can ask us follow-up questions that maybe we don't cover in the show. One of the things that has been just really affecting me is I will go and read the comments and I'll see an important question that we missed or I didn't get to. And I do try to answer them in the comments, but I never feel really confident that anyone sees those answers. So we were saying maybe if everybody likes it, this is a good way to catch up on those questions, because my goal is you succeed at your painting. And I know the best way I can help and facilitate you do that is to be available to you to answer art questions, to try to get to as many of those techniques, situations as I can, to try to really come in there and help you figure out what it is. It is maybe the first way I explain something, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but the second way I explain it could be like completely clarifying. And so that's why we're thinking this is a good idea. I can't really see the chat, so I am speaking into a black box while my husband puts up curtains. Am I not green screening?
No, I'm going to put you on the red. Is that okay?
Okay.
I can't do it already.
He can't not green screen in time. So you don't get to see the green screen. I'm going to be in a red square. Next time we'll set up for green screen. Maybe, and I don't know, how often should we even do these? I don't know. Tell us how often you would like to see an after show to ask technique questions. Because depending on where you're at and how much access to art education you have, I don't really know what each person's situation is, but you might need some extra stuff, and I truly, deeply don't mind. So, let us know, and the mods will tell me, even if we're not there to see it right now, the mods will let me know, they need this much more. And remember, we do stuff on Facebook too. We do some weird, goofy stuff on Facebook. If you come by on Wednesday nights, I re-upload those Facebook videos to the channel, and we do a premiere, and I also take questions that whole live there. All right, so I'll go front.
So I'm going to drop the chat. The chat's going in the other channel.
Okay, boom, boom. You're going to drop it?
So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go up front. I'm going to get this chat for you guys, because right in the other channel, we've just popped open the live, so you guys can all pile right on over into there, so we can show you that so you guys can join us in the after show. You'll see a crazy picture of my face, which you won't see very often, because I had to do the thumbnail for Cinnamon. So if you jump over there right now, we're going to be in the
guys over there.
We're going to be
Give
in
me
that.
a minute to get a cup of coffee, though.
I'll have the coffee for you.
You get the coffee and everything for me?
So
okay.
I love you guys.
Can help bring me art materials. He will stunt hands me. He will
stunt your hands. So it's
okay. I'll just go over there then. I'll see you there in a second. Okay.
Be
good to yourself. Be good to each other. Be safe. And I want to see you in an easel really soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.